Okay.
Training ground. You asked for it, you get it. Where you and I will rip your photos into smithereens. Hold on to your headphones. Here comes the pain.
Um, Matt's sick for like the 8th time this year.
That's true.
Yeah, and yeah, we talked about the fact that he might die. So this might be like last training ground. So for those of you, yeah, you're lucky enough to actually be in this training ground. I think it's very, very good. You're on this. It might be the last one ever with Matt. My voice is a bit quivering right now because it's quite an
It's
emotional
very
moment.
emotional. Yeah.
Just wanted to like I'm gonna take this time and everything to thank everyone on BLFS who bought my book. Thank you very much. And I wanted to say, yeah, it's gonna get funded. I'm gonna go to World Cup, and I'm gonna get the book is gonna be made, and I will keep on doing this for the next 3 weeks. So if you haven't yet, I was told by my marketing person to do this, so you have to go and do this. If you have not yet seen or want to actually buy the book on the World Cup by me, go to ryusha.com, so it's yusha.com/Kickstarter. That's it. I mean, come, it's our platform. I should be able to advertise. So, without further ado, we're gonna do training ground. Sorry, it was a bit. We both been a bit busy, and we didn't get to like really invite that many people. I've kind of like forcefully invited some people that I've already asked them to put in their work, and they didn't. It's in our group, and it's our group role, so you have to be in it. So too bad you're in it, and we will start criticizing you nicely. So to start off with Alistair Ross, and it's rugby.
Yeah, I mean, he does better work than this. There's no question about it. I don't know. I don't know what it is. People, uh, this is nice light, so you're out there and you're shooting, and that doesn't make every picture nice. You know?
It's such a mundane shot, no? Like it's like you have to kind of like get away from the whole thing about getting shots that you could take 1,000 times per game in any sport. So, Matt goes on and on about guy with doing in American football, like guy with carrying the ball and running. I mean, it happens a lot of the time. It really, really does. And or in basketball, there's a guy dribbling the ball. It happens a lot during the game. So you really have to, at some point, say, okay, fuck this. I'm not gonna really, take any of these shots because I already got, 10 of those. I'm not gonna get the 11th one. I will then try to manage my time and my brain to think, okay, what else can I do that will be interesting and that will show up very well on, I don't know, magazines and just something very different. There's no point actually like taking a shot that could be done by anyone really, because this could be done by anyone. And like Matt said, like he's been a lot better, Alistair, than this, and it's a bit of a shame that he kind of resort to this one. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have like the girl in the background. If the people who are in the picture don't look like they're into what's going on, then you can't ask the viewer to be into what's going on. If she's not helping the picture, then she needs to be gone. You need to compose around her. You need to crop around her. But even that, you still have a person who's the girl with the ball. This is not an athletic anything. Like she could theoretically be standing in one spot with her, holding the ball out from her body or something. There's not even any kind of athleticism or anything like that going on here. And your goal is to show this in a different way. Like this is a TV picture. This is what TV looks like. And you got to get away from that. You got to get into the advantages of still photography, which is capturing individual moments that are fleeting, and this is not fleeting. This is just one of thousands of the similar things that go on during the game. And you've done better work, and you should be doing better work than this.
Like that. I I think it's great use of light. The moment is just not interesting.
Yeah, this is like
Um,
taking the last one to an extreme. So, he was shooting in nice light in the picture before. This is even better light. and it's just killing me that
This is
the
something you can get, no?
yeah, this is like you really need to know what you're doing to recognize when to shoot with flare like this, and the rim lighting on his arms. But so it was I don't know. I don't know. I remember that there was a time when I used to look through the viewfinder and get super excited about something and let that emotion overtake what I was actually shooting. So I was more excited about what I was shooting than it called for. And so this obviously didn't go away 2 seconds after it was here. So you saw this. Were you that excited with the lighting and the accents and things like that that you just didn't pay attention to the content of the picture? Because something could have happened in this light. In this kind of light, you can get away with something not quite as interesting happening because it's pretty extreme. But it can't be this.
Hmm. Like it's just like the most boring moment you can possibly think of in this. Like I just cannot believe this is the one thing that you could get in this light. And that's really a massive fail. It really, really is, and it's on you that
It's a
you
gigantic
won't.
wasted
Yeah,
opportunity.
because you don't really get that many lights like that, and it's the perfect, like everything is right there, and it's all ready for you to be just, have a great shot over there, and even like a normal shot would even make it look even better in this one, and you just kind of blew it. That's not good. It really, really isn't. If you're gonna do this at a higher level, these are the opportunities you cannot miss. You get this, you have to really, be able to grasp it and say, okay, now I'm gonna be locked on for the next, 5 minutes to get the greatest shot I can possibly get in this light. And this is not one of
You
those.
you have to be willing to do that. You have to say that if I nail a picture in this light, it's going to be worth more to me, money wise, and just the accomplishment wise, than 1,000 stop action pictures like the one from before.
Yeah.
You
So
have to, you absolutely have to get that. You don't make portfolio pictures trying to make ordinary pictures, right? The pictures that you're going to make your name on, the pictures that people are going to remember, are pictures that you had to take a risk that you could walk out of there with absolutely nothing. So when you recognize light like this, sit on it until you get something good. Then if you fail, you fail. But if you succeed, you really succeed. And you have absolutely got to be willing to make that trade-off. You have to. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time.
yeah, listen to the Almost Dead Man. It really should, Might be a last time. Horrible.
I
I saw this on our group, and I had, and so first of all, everyone who is doing this, who's in doing sports photography a long time, just because you've got 32 likes and 100 comments doesn't necessarily mean it's any good. And this is exactly the reason why. Over
this is
process, yeah.
atrocious. I mean, this is
Not interesting picture, yes, and that's it. I mean, there's nothing else more going on. It's Photoshop to the bones. It's horrendous.
I mean, it's like not just a filter, but it's also like selective blurring and like almost a tilt shift, and then all the ridiculous colors on top of it. But when you need to do that to make a picture better, you are better off just deleting that picture. This is not good. You really need to understand that no matter how many people tell you this picture is good, it's not good. Not an opinion, it's just not good.
And I think a lot of saturated colors and blurring and all that kind of stuff. I think it impresses people because they've probably never seen it.
Yeah, well, it impresses the masses, but if anybody is looking at this, they're going to write you off as a photographer. If any editor, if any buyer, they're going to look at this and say, what is this guy trying to hide? He thinks this is a good picture, so he spent a whole lot of extra time working on it in Photoshop, and it's a disaster. This is the kind of thing that can just, people will just turn off to you completely if they see this kind of stuff. You know
Yeah.
what? And take my word on it or don't. It's up to you.
No, you should. You really should actually. Because you're not into this to improve your Photoshop skills. You're into this to improve your sports photography skills, and this is not something that you really should be aiming for at all. It's really, 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 really bad example of how things are done. So if you see anything like this,
Man, I would really love to have this guy come on and tell us why this is a great picture.
how about we were talking about the fact that I'm not going to be able to come on training ground next time because I'll be in Brazil. You should have him on.
Yeah, we could do training ground with all of his pictures.
Oh God. Um, I invited him. He didn't do it, and right. First of all, actually, you know what? I'm gonna actually do the first good thing because I think there is a good thing here that he actually panned it very, very well. I think he did really, really good. I mean, panning is not a very easy thing to do. A lot of people really blow it every single time, and he did it really well.
Well, it's
And I like the
easier it's easier to pan when you're using a flash, though.
yeah, but come on,
Mm.
you gotta give the guy credit. And look at this X-wing. How cool is that? The bike, not Y-wing or A-wing, but it's an X-wing. Yeah, because the problem is we're gonna have to do a lot of bad. It's also bad as well. So, Matt Cohen, you want to do one bad? We'll just keep on going back and forth. Which one's the one? Pick one.
Pick what? This sucks.
Yeah, like pick one. Like you have to pick one particular bad thing.
About the picture?
Yeah, I know it's bad, but I just yeah, like people
What's
don't like people think it's like it's great because it's blurred and like it's got blurry
Listen,
background and he's in
I'm as much of
focus.
a fan as square format as anybody else. I have a lot of fun on Instagram. I really do. But the thing is that there are pictures that I would love to put on Instagram, but they're not square format pictures, and you can't make them into square format pictures. So, you know what? They go other places. And what do we have? We have an awkwardly cropped, unbalanced picture that cuts him off at the ankle, that cuts off part of his ass, that has a weird amount of space on the right edge and a weird amount of space on the top edge and no space on either of the other two edges. He's by you, and again, panning, yeah, panning's tough, but when you have a flash and you're panning, the flash stops the action for you. So, there's no great skill to this.
Oh, you're ruining for me.
Well, sorry.
Um, wow, it's on Getty, which means that Getty will basically take anything really
Yeah.
at this
Well, they
point.
will.
It really is amazing the fact that it's actually on Getty. I guess they don't really care. Uh, we talk about cropping, and Matt just talked about the whole skirt crop. Just gonna talk about just the general croppingness of this thing. So awkward in so many different positions. Like Matt said, the ass, the foot. You have to kind of train yourself to crop, and because you'll see how awkward things are when you look at it from I think it's a bit difficult when you crop something you're really close to the monitor because you kind of like don't see the whole picture. I just like kind of step back and see the whole thing and say, okay, is that weird? It's like reading a sentence that you've written. You're writing it. It doesn't really sound that awkward, but you read it out loud. It sounds really awkward, and I think that's one of those things that you really should learn how to do it. And this is just horrendously awkward. Um, the fact that he's got like 17 likes on this and 27 comments is beyond me. But obviously, people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So I guess they just like they press the button when they have to because if they do that, this guy will then like your photo, and it's a downward spiral of Flickr. And
It really is.
yeah, it really, really is. It's really, really bad. So please beware. It really is. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe what other people say about your photo when it is this bad. It really,
Or you could disregard everything we're saying and assume that we're just jealous of your likes and comments.
Matt is. I'm not. Matt always jealous. Um. Oh well, what's the other thing? Well, it's not a really interesting moment, huh? On the second thing.
No, it's
Doesn't
just
mean.
crap. It's just
Yeah.
crap.
And if you're like, I don't know, that close to the rider, then there's a lot of things you could have actually done with it, but you didn't really do it. So yeah, it's bad stuff all over the place. They're really bad quality bad things this week. Hmm. um, So this is by Senev Neunsen, Le Sprint Final, and it's in Germany and Zingen. So I will get you that much. So now you have a chance to take a picture. We took a picture in sports, and he's chosen cycling. Interesting. And then he decided that, okay, you know what? I really screwed up the focus because I don't know what I was doing. I think it's actually in the background because I see over here that it's actually in
Yeah, the
focus right
trees.
there.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, and the trees in the top left
yeah,
are also in
there you go.
focus.
So, in order to hopefully mask my failure as a sports photographer, I'm gonna turn this into black and white, and I will up the contrast, and I will see, and people will say, "Wow, it's so dramatic. It's in black and white. It's shit." And I, re- I think it's like some. I don't know why I read this, but I remember that it's really bad when what like really bad chefs do, like cooking chefs do, is that when they cook something shit, they try to mask it with sauce. And it always, always, always goes wrong. And we've seen, I think, what, four in a row, three in a row, these things, massively overproduced photos where it doesn't go anywhere. And like, what is there? What was your point of actually taking this picture? And what are we supposed to be looking at? Blurs? If you're gonna be taking a blur, there's so many different ways to actually take a blur, and this spot obviously this isn't the way to actually take a blur in any case. So, um, it's bad. It really, really is. And I think I lost Matt. You still there?
No, I'm here.
Okay, so he's half dead. We're gonna go on to the next one. He'll tell us. So,
Yeah, again, I mean, your processing doesn't impress anybody.
um, it's bad, and it just you're taking picture of a cycling race, really in a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful background. I could see that rolling hills and everything, countryside, and this is what you come up with. I'm not saying that you have to necessarily use what's in the background that was given to you, but I would first of all think about that a lot more than anything else. And you haven't actually used that to your advantage at all. The moment is dull and it's just blurry. But hey, you got 15 likes, so you must be doing something very, very good. You see, this is a bit of a running theme today now. It's the whole how many likes you got and how pathetic it is you won't actually believe that one. But hey, that's up to you for you to decide,
If
which is,
if the picture's not going to be good in color, it's not going to be good in black and white. That's just, I don't mind black and white. I don't mind even black and white action pictures if there's a reason for it. But what do you have here? You just have, it's just flat. You need to, if you're going to make something black and white, it needs to sing. It really needs to be like, I'm accentuating the two-dimensionalness of this picture, and the tones need to complement each other, and everything is just running together here. It's just never going to look good like that.
none at all. So, um, I admire, yeah, well, yeah, I really actually do admire the fact you try something different. Multiple exposure. It's good. It's fun. You done three, but the thing is, like, it's not really coming together because it's just not interesting. Like it's a goalkeeper and he's trying to kick the ball, and then that's it. There really has to like it's. I understand that you want to use different effects and different style, not different style, but different ways you can shoot like that that you can actually use your camera with or camera for. But you really do have to be aware what you're going to be producing at the very end. And multiple exposure is not very easy to do just because the fact that I don't know, things just like don't move the way you want it to move. And you look at the like for instance, if you see a lot like in baseball where things are quite stationary, they don't really move around. They move from one position to another position, and that the second position isn't really that much far. So you'll see quite, different um, poses for each frame, and you can kind of really distinctly see that. But in football, from what I've actually done, it's very difficult to do. Um, it rarely comes out well. But it doesn't, I'm not saying you should never try it. I think you should. But this is not the one you should be proud of because it's not working very well at all. First of all, it's a boring moment, and second of all, it doesn't really, the whole multiple exposure thing on this one doesn't really work very, very well. Unless you really are so infatuated with the ball because the ball is just very beautifully shot over here on this one. But nice try, but keep on trying and show something a bit more interesting. Interesting moments, interesting multiple exposures, different instances. Maybe not the goalkeeper, maybe the field player would actually be interesting. But I
Yeah,
think
this
worth
is
trying.
this is like what this picture says to anybody who's looking at it is, oh, this guy knows how to use multiple exposures in camera. That's it. There's nothing. You're not making it interesting by doing it. All you're doing is it's basically a look at what I know how to do kind of thing. And some panning pictures are like that. Some regular straight up pictures are like that. There's people can set up backboard remote cameras and do that. But if it's not still a good picture, people are going to look at it and say, all right, well, he's better at setting up a remote camera than he is about figuring out what's a great moment and editing down to that. And what we have here is just, yes, you've successfully figured out how to use in-camera multiple exposure, but you're not telling us anything about the game. You're not telling us anything about this guy's athletic ability. It's just a minimum executed multiple exposure picture. That's all.
And we must move on. Um, so like I just want to kind of like say something about like not particularly this photo, but like extreme sports in general. People get massively impressed with airtime, and so do I. I really do as well. I think it's quite amazing what these people do, and but the photos. I think we recently talked about the what's that thing with the Red Bull? They had like that photo book, no? Didn't they? The really, really
Yeah,
cool one.
yeah,
I mean, you should look at those. I mean, they are amazing. They really not. It's not a photo book. I think it's like a competition that they had on Extreme Sports Interaction. Beautiful photos. So yeah, I'm impressed with airtime and all that kind of stuff, but it has to be executed in a way that it should look beautiful. And here we have this guy, Air, and his bike is right next to the Jägermeister little flag. Is it Jägermeister thing?
yeah.
Yeah. The background is terrible, you know?
And that's what happens when you shoot extreme sports as a outsider, basically. I just was walking around with my camera and I went downtown and they were doing this. The problem is that everything's going to be caked up with sponsor boards, and on top of that, you're not going to be able to get close enough to really isolate anything or get any kind of depth of field or anything like that. So what you have is just a mess. You have the bridge in the background is just as much in focus as the guy on the bike, and you have those signs. So you're having to ask somebody to do a lot of work to understand what's going on for no payoff whatsoever. And vignette.
The artificial vignetting. Oh
Yeah.
God. It rarely works. It really rarely works. Don't. It's just another thing of over processing as well, no? And you can see, like, I think the saturation is actually quite up high. Like, this is actually quite
Yeah.
saturated. It just doesn't work. So you have to take a good picture. It's just basically how it goes. So the game is you have to take a good picture. If you take a good picture, you can enhance it by using Photoshop. I've got no problem. You will make it better, but don't overdo it. Subtlety is the most important thing because of the fact that you are supposed to be using the original, what you've actually shot, and adding a little bit like saturation in the color and curves and things like that. That's it. But when you have pictures like this, it's just, it's just terrible. And if it's terrible, then don't try to make it into a passable photo by just photoshopping the shit out of it, Like, what's the point? then you have to realize like what you've actually done wrong and say, you know what, I didn't do it right. I want to do it again. So I'm gonna try like a next X Games event in my local city, and I'm gonna go and shoot over there. That's it. That really, really is it. And you shouldn't really even be proud of the fact you have photos like this on your portfolio. Like you really, really shouldn't. I mean, people who would see this would just say, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, I'm just
I can't figure this one out. I don't know what's going on, but I really like it. I love the lines. It works very, very well. I think he's trying to like I don't what's going on. I don't really quite understand. I like it. I really, really do. I like the photo itself. I love the lines, and I think without the lines, it wouldn't really have worked. Um, there are things that really does bother me. The fact that I don't really quite understand what's going on. I don't actually like mind the leg in the doorway or wherever it is, but it's just kind of like it seems a bit odd. The netting on the top doesn't really do it for me. I wish if it was really a literally geometry thing, I would not like to have actually had that netting because then it really will be all straight lines and that thing will not be very I mean it's very to me it's very very distracting. That's over there. Good moment. I don't know. When you really rely on how the lines are kind of like drawn inside the frame. So these type, like like you have a lot of straight lines, vertical and horizontal. It helps a lot in basically framing the shot, and you can cram things inside to like make it into a frame within a frame. You can play with the lines, like maybe the leg is actually going to be perpendicular to the line or over a line. There's a lot of things you can do, and I think he's had a very very good idea there and say, okay, I'm going to actually use this line to create something. And I think it worked out well enough. But like I said, I think the moment itself is slightly awkward because I really just cannot get a good grip of what's going on. Not that I really have to all the time, but I just kind of want a bit more clarity to it. And that netting at the top really just kind of with me.
yeah. If you're somewhere where you see everything lining up like this and you can use that, that's great. But it's still there still has to be an interesting athletic thing going on there. It can't just be, oh well, he saw the lines and everything, and we'll forgive the action. Not really how it works.
But in the right direction, really. It really, really is. So being aware of like because we had the geometry thing going on background wise, if this would have actually been one of the contestants for the UN we had last month, no, 2 months ago. But yeah, execution has to be at that point in priority to find an interesting. For instance, like the guy is catching the ball and he is neatly tucked in between this line and this line, like in a ball, catching the ball and jumping up. That would have been really, really good. But in this case, it really does kind of like, okay, he has that line, So it's not easy. And I do appreciate the fact you did this, but yeah, I'll better luck next time. No. I can't I can't possibly give you a pass just because there's a lot of grass flying around. And to me that right foot is too awkward. I can't. It's cut weird at the top.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like a foot.
No.
If it did, then that would be one thing. Like it's still, to me, I can appreciate it, but it's not really what I'm looking for. But having just the heel cup on there is not enough.
No. Um Michael Cohn. Not to be mistaken with Matt's long lost brother, Mike Cohn, who lives in San Diego, by the way. Nice guy. Met him a couple of times for drinks. But he's got a bit of a temperament, which I don't really like. Which is obviously it's a Cohen thing, right?
What are you talking about?
Well, Matt's got a temperament problem. He's also got like several different kind of drug problems and things like that. And yeah, he's like almost killed people, and but we won't
All
talk about
right.
that much. 'Cause he's sick, and he might not make it. Might make it till the end of the show, so we have to be very nice to him. So anyway, Michael Cohen, Matt Cohen's long lost brother from San Diego, is at first base. Well, one of his foot is on first base, and it's weird. It's just weird. You can't do this. I mean, you can not do this because doesn't pass the awkward test. You have to. I don't understand why people just like have a look at it and say, okay, does this look really awkward? And the answer is yes, it looks really awkward.
So the difference is if this foot had been flexing, like if the toe had been all the way down and the heel had been all the way up and he was taking off or something like that, or if there was a slide and the dust was flying up or something, then that would be fine. But really all you have is a foot on the base. Like the energy has been sucked out of it because there's no motion, there's no potential, there's nothing. It's just two objects completely still, and neither of them are interesting enough to make a picture out of, and putting them together doesn't do it. So if you want a detail shot like this, then you need to sit on it, and you're going to say, you know what, for 3 innings, top and bottom, I'm just going to sit there and shoot whatever happens on or around first base. You can do that. This past week, I was shooting a rodeo, and it was 2 goes. So I knew I had 2 chances to shoot everybody who was going that day. And so for part of it, all I did was shoot the legs of the tie-down horses stopping in the dirt, because the light was good, and I wanted the muscles of the horse flexing and stopping and skidding in the dirt flying up. And so I sat there for 40 minutes or something like that, only shooting that, because I really wanted that picture. That's what it takes to get it. It doesn't take, oh, well, I just pointed my lens down and I saw a foot on a bag and so I made a picture of it. That's not how these pictures are made, unless you're extremely lucky. You need to practice, and you need to sit on it, and you need to wait until that picture comes to you, and you need to be prepared, and you need to get it. This isn't that. It's just, there's nothing going on here. It's not visually interesting. It's, flat lighting. This is boring.
Yeah.
You can do better than this. I mean, think about the pictures that you have of people sliding into home or something like that, and the anticipation and the potential of a picture like that versus just a shoe sitting on a bag. It's not enough.
Darling. I have no idea like where Manlius Pebble Hill is. Or Marcellus. But I know for a fact that it's probably somewhere in America, because only Americans play lacrosse. Probably Northeast, because that's the only place they play lacrosse. So, seeing this, so they're kind of banging around, trying to get the ball. It's fine, but it's just not very, first of all, exciting, because it's not like the guy's helmet is flying, or his nose is broken and blood everywhere, or anything like that. Like, it's just not exciting enough. One of those things, same thing, as we always say, this happens a lot in lacrosse, that checking and trying to get the ball off the dude. It just happens. It's basically dribbling. We should start coining terms like these really, mundane action in particular sports. You know what I mean? Like this. Not good. It's just it's just not very, very good at all. And on top of that, I don't know. I'm also not too crazy about the crop below the knee thing. It just doesn't really work for me. I mean, if it was crop around here, I think it would have been okay. But there, kind of knee showing there, it looks really awkward. And there. Man, this guy's got really skinny legs. Yeah, you can't do it. And there's not much more for me to actually say, because just the fact that it's not a really interesting moment. Everything else, I think like if you just want to say like all the good stuff about it, like yeah, like it's blurry in the background. You use the high f-stop, and that's about it really. No shots, nothing broken. That's it. Yeah, you still awake? You
Yep.
got the-
What are we doing? This is just the same. It's the same as the rugby picture. It's just there are more interesting things that happen during these games. And if you want straight up action, there are more interesting ways to do that. And if you want straight up action, don't make the guy look like he's gonna fall over from being uncoordinated. The guy in red, you're making him look like a I don't even know what the right word is, but it makes him look like he can barely even run. This is sports photography. The whole point of it is to show athletic achievement and things that most people can't do. And just you're making them look like they can't even play.
is it out of focus as well?
Eh, it's
Doesn't really
not
matter, but
not
I'm sorry.
hard, but
Um, Mike, I like it. Um, what I like about Mike, first of all, is that he doesn't give up, which what you need to do. Like really, you cannot. If you want to get better at this, you cannot give up. You really, really cannot give up. And Mike has had terrible pictures in years past, and I think now he's kind of getting it. No, I kind of think so. Kind of understanding what works and what doesn't work for him. Don't you agree?
yeah, I do. I like the lines in this a lot.
Hmm.
The lighting, it would be better if you could see the guy who was working, the guy or guys who was working on the car, but
Hmm.
I don't know. It's certainly better than some of the other stuff he's done.
Yeah. Now, I won't give you an A plus, Mike, by all means, but it's getting there. It's very slowly. You're really starting to like kind of figure things out in terms of your style. Like you're trying a lot of different things, and it's really really good. It's because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Like Matt said, the line. I like the lines. I like lines a lot anyway. It's good. So keep on trying. We thoroughly encourage it. And apparently he used a new Sigma's art lens, so maybe
Imagine how
that's just
much
what
I
it
care
is,
about
though. Well, maybe that's what it is, though. Maybe it's the lens, Matt. Even you, if you get the lens, you might be able to actually take better rodeo photography as well. Whoo! All right, come on. You can talk about something that's not in focus. Go ahead.
that. Yeah, it's not in focus. So the interesting part of this picture, if there was one,
It's
is
not in
the
focus.
is the face of the girl in the middle,
Here.
and you focused on the back of the girl on the right. So
Yeah, there. It's a no-no. Hmm. Well, Mike, it's kind of two steps forward and one step backwards. That van, that van, that truck doesn't really do anything. The blur doesn't really do anything. It's just got a bit boring. Like I said, I think two steps forward, and you just took a step back in this one, and I'm okay with it. You're going forward, and that's what's the most important thing. You are going forward. You're trying different things. And yeah, the more you do, the better you're gonna get. And yeah, you gotta take the good with the bad. And this is a bad. Um. So Simon West, he said something about like it's very very funny. Blah blah blah. I like funny. I mean, I don't really find Matt very funny, but here's funny moments. Sometimes, like once every like 6 months, there's a couple of funny moments that Matt Cohen does give to us. But funny has to be like shot very, very well. And this is not shot very well at all. And it's not particularly very funny because two middle aged ladies playing hockey is funny if there's something funny happening. But if two middle ages playing hockey, you think that's funny, then not really getting the joke. Um, I wish I shared your sensitivity. I wish I shared your humor, but I really, really don't. And I don't really find particular funny about this. I'm not like saying like you're insulting me by saying this is funny, but it's just not funny. Unless Matt thinks this is funny. Matt Cohen.
No, I mean it's just not good. I mean, it's sloppy, cutting off the foot on the side, and I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. It's not a good photo by all means. It's out of focus. It's a bit blurry, you know? Just because I think it's I don't know what's really going on. It's just not a really good photo by all
Too far
means.
away and it's cropped too much, I think.
Not a good action. It's not like, like it's just not funny. I don't know what's so funny about this. Face is funny? Oh my god. It's not in focus, if you ask me. Or at least this part is actually not in focus, which is the part that has to be focused at this distance. And it's a shame because it's a good moment. He's about to get tackled. He's trying to run away. And it's not really in focus. I try to actually like try to zoom it. It doesn't
The
really zoom.
the problem is that I think both of these pictures were taken from too far away. If
And he
you
cropped it.
miss if you miss the focus even by a tiny little bit close up,
It's here to
it's
focus.
different. It's different than if you miss it from really far away and then try and crop it because all that's going to be accentuated. And I think that's what's going on here. This is a better moment than the other one, but it's soft and again with the foot cutting off. I mean, it's just sloppy. It's got
You
to get
gotta be
better
really
at that.
careful about these things. Really, really have to. Like, if you really want to avoid things getting cut off on the side, like for instance, like in this instance, if you had the focus here, so it's like it's the entire frame is like this, like that, like rectangle like this, okay? And if you had the focus here instead of in the center, you would actually have him enough space to actually have him do these things. And if anything happens on this side, you have plenty of space for things to not get cut off, like this over here. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Like it's just your where you put your focus points in relation to what would potentially happen if the kid is running to the left and the touchline. It's not touchline. That's not the end zone. I forgot what the term is for whatever the place you're supposed to go for rugby at the end. End zone? No. Whatever.
I
That
don't
place
know.
you have to go to get a try. And he's not there yet. He's just kind of running. Why not put the focusing point to the left so you got him on the left? And he's going this direction to the left, which means that whatever is going to happen, try guys coming from this side will be in the frame and you won't miss any of these things that are going to be get cut off over here. Hope you know what I'm talking about. Because if you had him in the center, yeah, he's got enough space over here on this side to move, but you're not going to really focus. You're not going to be able to actually get a focus on him because your focus is dead center. If anything happens to him from the right hand side, that will get cut off because of the fact that your main subject is in the center. So you have to like be aware of like where you're focusing, which focus point you're using, and be able to actually switch back and forth between center, left, right, up, and down, depending on what the situation is. So you're gonna have to be able to actually read the game, read the situation, and use that to your advantage. I mean, you can't cut this thing off. I mean, you can't do it. Kevin, you like Kevin's photo?
I don't like this one.
No, it's bad. It's really bad photo. Um, like I don't know, like it's something's happening, but it's not a really interesting action. Like he's making a face. Okay. Is he making a funny face? Like funny face like those two middle-aged lady playing field hockey. Well, basically like on the same line. He's kind of like the scrunchy faces and that's it. Action itself not very interesting, so it's not interesting. Okay. Same. People kind of have this thing, don't they? Like it's like if they think it's in the air, or if they think it's, well, if they think if it is in the air, if they're actually making a face, people think it's immediate as an interesting thing. No, like it's just like a common theme, right?
Yeah, or a collision or something like that,
Yeah.
conflict or something. It's not enough.
It's not like you got him like when he was getting tackled. It's not like you've got him when he's doing something really cool, and it really isn't. He's just falling. And at what point you're going to think what makes you think this is an interesting moment by because it really isn't at all, There's nothing really interesting happening over here.
No.
It's just a guy falling. So no, you can't do it. J Rash really into his fisheye, huh? These days, no?
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I'm getting a bit bored of this entire composition thing because you've kind of did a lot. But you're now starting to just kind of place things together for the fisheye, and now it's time to either a use it in a different way. I like to have the main subject a lot closer to the lens, or b switch to something else. It's fine that you have a favorite lens to use, but the problem is everything's going to start looking exactly the same, and that's the place you don't really want to go at all. So yeah, everything almost aligned perfectly to the center. That girl, yeah, you should actually tell her next time to go a bit towards the right. Everyone else is kind of like it's the girl in blonde hair. She's not raising her hand, which kind of does bother me because the whole point everything has to be unison. It's not. And had I shot this, those 2 points, like I said, the girl in the middle, the blondie, her being slightly off to the left, and girl in the right, the other blondie, does not have her fist up, would really, really, really bother me. And those are now at, J Rash's level. Those are the points that you really have to be aware of, and you have to be really picky. You have to kind of be like quite critical. Like so, it's you have to be able to actually critique yourself very, very well. And on top of that, the background, whereas basically it's a basketball game, we're not checking out cheerleaders. Maybe, maybe Jairus was, but there has to be something interesting happening in the background as well. Because this is the one piece of the puzzle is the cheerleaders, and it's symmetrical, and you're using a fisheye. So the background, the guy's dunking, or there's like you can actually clearly see like maybe the 3 pointer, someone like bodies flying everywhere, something, and that would make it a great photo. You've actually just have one half of the equation, which is the cheerleaders, and on top of that, like I told you, it's not perfect because she's off center, and that the other girl isn't doesn't have her hand up.
It's
So
it's it's really it's true, and it might sound like nitpicking, but what it comes down to is that when you're taking a picture like this, where you're you have the time to set up wherever you want, so you found a place where you can use that little ceiling there. Um, the execution of it becomes more important, and the little details become bigger than they would be ordinarily, because you're saying this isn't really this is a tangentially a sports picture, and really what it is like a still life. That's at this point in time, it's a still life in a basketball gym, and that would be the same thing as a still life of a bowl of fruit where one of the fruit stems was pointing out at an awkward level, but you had the complete control over where that stem was going to go, and that's your responsibility. So the arms of these cheerleaders and what's going on in the background, that's all your responsibility. So you can think, um, you can think of this, you can have this idea, but you still need to go out and execute it as well as you can. And while this isn't a bad picture, it has low points because the arms and because of the spacing and things like that. So, there's nothing to stop you from going back and doing this again, but those are the things you need to think of. Like all of those things really need to come together. If they're not synchronized and that's screwing you up, then that's still your responsibility.
It's your fault. No. Just, I was taking 3 years ago on top of this. Like, what? People give you 14 likes because it's a girl in bikinis? Come on. You can go on the internet and get 14. You can get a girl on the internet, like, check out girls in bikinis. Better than this. It's not good. By all means. A, it's not interesting. The moment's not interesting. B, I don't even want to see this crappy background in the back. It doesn't really add or do anything. C, just cutting her off here. And I think it's fine. Like, I'm just thought about it. Like, I just had a bit of think about it now, and it's not that bad. But the criminally, it's just, listen, I like my woman hot. I like to see, good-looking woman. But doesn't necessarily mean it's a good sports picture just because you take a picture of a woman in bikinis. And on top of that, this stupid hat there, right there, really just irks me. And the dude in the back, you don't really do anything about it because you've just blew it anyway. So, no, it's just like preparing to serve. Who gives a shit if she's preparing to serve?
No.
I can't believe, like, this is the best picture you could possibly have gotten in a place where if you had this much access. Can you imagine, like, if she's, like, serving, jump serving and things like that? So many things you can actually do in beach volleyball, and this is what you get. And there's so many, like, sexy moments as well if you gonna go for that direction in beach volleyball, woman looking really hot and doing this like stuff. But this just isn't doing it, like, in any direction, any level, anything. And you know what? Those people who gave you 14 likes, yeah, they biggest like say, "Hey, dude, it's a chick. I'm gonna put you. I'm gonna like this photo," and that's it. 114 comments. Oh, really? Yeah. And if you thought for a second this is a good picture, I think you should probably get like an MRI or like whatever it is you can get because there's something really wrong with you. Oh. Matt's still alive, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm here. I just, this isn't, I don't know. This is a TNA picture. This isn't a sports picture. I think it's pretty clear that that's what the intent was.
And there you have it. That's it? No, I got a bit more. That's good, but I don't know. I just kind of think that he's a bit past it, no, Andrew? Like, I really want to see some really creative stuff from now on from him. I just kind of think that honestly, he can do a lot more.
Yeah, for a straight up action picture, I don't really have a problem with this.
No. But I do have a problem because he's more capable of doing something a bit more interesting than this, and he hasn't really pushed it, and it's just not good. Good. I don't know why it's here. It shouldn't really be here at all.
Yeah.
It's good. Creighton. Idea is good. I honestly really think the idea is excellent. I think it's really, really good. It's always the execution, huh?
Right.
It's not like because I really have to admit there's so many people who've got no original idea, and I think that's worse than having an idea and like not be able to actually execute it, and that is the case here. So Howard thought about like I'm gonna do this shot and I'm gonna do it from above. And I'm going to use the trees to kind of frame the runners. And I think that would have been fine. So there are two things that didn't go for him and that he should have thought about this when he saw where he was shooting from. A, there's not enough shrubbery. Like there should be more. Because the whole point of this is that there's a lot of things that would really kind of like, I want to see like the runners run past. And you can see parts of the runner's body like through the leaves and the branches and all that kind of stuff. B, there's just not nowhere enough runners in this picture. If it was close to the start line where people are starting, where it's just like masses of people, I think it would have been worked much better because that there's just so many people over there, and the blur would look really good on it. And three, the shrub could have been more interesting. More of those white flowers at the right top right hand corner, like that kind of tree would have been interesting. But I think we just need more of it, and the show has to be more interesting. Saying that, honestly, it really is a very good idea. I think you had the vision to say, okay, this is gonna be really interesting. I'm gonna try this one out, and I think it's really good. But always execute it, because if you without execution, the good idea is not. There's nothing to a good idea. It's just an idea that you blew it. So yeah, really, however, like keep on working at it. You got good ideas, but now we start thinking about when you have those good ideas, you have to think in your head, what do I need to do to make sure this is going to be an interesting picture? And like I was just pointing out just now, those are the things that you could work on next time if you have a similar opportunity.
Yeah, it really needs to. It doesn't. See, the thing is that I don't agree that it needs to have necessarily more shrubs. I don't necessarily agree that it needs to have more runners, but it needs to be visually interesting all by itself. So if it was just, say, it was just the road, and the road had chalk drawings on it or something like that, or if there, yeah, if there were trees, if there were more shrubs, if there were interesting looking barricades that were painted yellow or something, there needs to be, so having the runners blurred out like that is screaming for the rest of the picture to carry the picture, and it's not. There's not enough there to carry the picture. So you could have had a ton of runners doing that and nothing on the borders, or you could have had really interesting borders and a couple of runners, but something needs to carry the picture, and neither of the elements, the borders or the runners, are enough to carry this picture. But it's definitely a good idea.
It is. J Rash.
So this is not. First of all, you're not low enough. Like if you're going for a picture like this, your lens needs to be on the ground, not sitting, not holding it down real low or something like that. But the lens needs to be lower than the feet.
Yeah, but then if the lens is too low, you won't see the shadow. Because I think that's what he was going for.
Well, it could have been a lot lower and still got the shadow.
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
look
I
how
think
much
it's,
room there is. Look
I
how
don't
much
know
room
because
there is
I
at the
just kind
bottom
of
of the
think
picture.
this wouldn't have actually worked from this angle anyway, to me. Like when I saw it, I was like, I understand what he wants to do, but I think the shadow looks a bit awkward. You know what I mean? From this angle.
I don't mind that.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I think the cold's got into your head now at this point.
All right.
Oh, come on, man. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy. So go lower. I'm gonna side with Matt today because he's gonna start crying if I don't side with him today. He's in a very fragile state right now. So yeah, I mean it's you're gonna have to execute it better, and yeah, you just have to do it. We trust, we believe in you. It's jet skiing. Yeah, I can see it's jet skiing. That's all I can see. It's just jet skiing.
This is a snapshot. It's a camera phone picture.
It's not good. No, I honestly, really, you have to do better than this. Like there are certain people on this, in BLFS that should be doing better, and you have to be doing better. You have to be doing better. Yeah, because I don't like the fact that you're gonna if you're gonna start sitting on laurels and say, you know what, this is good enough. It's not good enough, not at all. And you have to realize we're not gonna like take your hand and like guide you through whatever is gonna happen to your sports photography career. Like, we really won't, because it's not really interesting to us. You need to be able to actually think on your own, on your 2 feet, and say, okay, this works, doesn't work. This is interesting. This is quite mundane. I don't think I should actually be shooting really mundane shots. I'm going to be trying something very, very interesting, very new, very risky, because that is how we operate, and that's how you should operate. That you need to be taking a lot more risks, and you need to like be making less mistakes, like these fat dudes in the back. Why should I be seeing these fat dudes in the back? Like, I really are they doing anything to them? And this dude over here to the left, he's not really doing anything either. So the only thing that's happening is this dude, this guy, is passing the ball. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing more to it. And you cannot think this is a good photo at your level. You cannot. And if if you think this is good, like, you really have to get your head checked again, and say, you know what, I have to demand a lot more out of myself at this juncture in my sports photography career. If you haven't actually done anything sports photography wise, and if you see this like your first time, yeah, I'll say okay, you done a good job your first time. Look at now, let's go on and do something else. But you've done this long enough to like know for a fact this is not your level.
Yeah.
That's the last one. And obviously, on that always negative note, that will be the end of training ground. If you have gotten here by pure luck or accident, or YouTube, just, I don't know, you were just surfing through YouTube. Um, Training Ground is part of BigLensFastShutter.com, which is a sports photography website, podcast, video, where we teach you how to become a better sports photographer. It is run by Matt Cohen, who is a rodeo photographer, and you vocal. I am mainly a football, soccer photographer. And yeah, we've been doing it for some time, and yeah, we enjoy, making you feel bad. But at the same time, we also believe in the fact that we make you feel bad is going to lead to you, being a bit better about what you're going to be doing as a sports photographer. And hopefully, you enjoy the show. Next time, I'm not here, like I said. I'll be in Brazil, taking pictures of soccer, and Matt Cohen will have a special guest. He can't say who at this point, because yeah, he doesn't have one, but we'll get one. That's what he promised he's gonna get one, and he'll feel better. By the way, Matt lost both of his arms over the weekend, and he can't take pictures. And yeah, he's okay. Nothing against people who's got arms. It's not. Don't get crazy now, people. Okay, just joking. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully, you will show us your improvements next. And that will be the end of Training Ground.